Disclaimer is it recording?
Yes,
No.
Yajat, it is.
Disclaimer, by the way, I have had COVID, so which is should I say that? I don't know.
Do you
I,
care?
I've had I've had the
Who
disease.
asked?
No. It's because of the cough. I'll be coughing throughout. So if that's not, I'm not being strange. That's it.
So you like cuffs?
अबे तो शुरू करना तो भाई.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of YouthCast. Today we're here to talk about the past year because believe it or not, it has actually been 1 year since we started YouthCast. There has been ups and downs throughout the year, and Yajat, Swayam and I are here to talk about this exciting mix of a year with you today. And also Yajat got COVID,
Thank you,
so yeah.
thank you. Yeah, I'll be coughing throughout the podcast, so you can't complain. Anyways,
But you can.
Swayam, would you like to do the honors?
Yeah, so believe it or not, like last year for 18th of April, we released our first episode, COVID-19, and that episode was low-key a mess. The
It's
editing
the worst thing I've heard.
the editing was shoddy. We didn't really know.
Yeah, I did the editing. Okay,
and it was pretty
which explains
terrible.
a lot. It was
Um,
pretty bad.
And I think just looking back at it now that it's been like a solid year, we have improved a lot. Like, sure, we do mess up 20 times before we start recording an actual episode. Sure, we don't have Zoom Premium and we have to ask guests to rejoin.
Yeah, you can't oust us. They don't know that. You crazy.
We do know.
Oh man. Now we do though. Now we do.
but-
2021. Big scene.
But I think in general, like, it's crazy to see how far we've come along and how we've grown from one subscriber to a solid total of more than 50 subscribers.
90.
Now
90.
it's
Are
actually
you-
pretty mad.
Bro, it's growing. Subscribe. Right now.
Yeah, like even though the number may not seem like a lot in the first place, I think it's crazy to think out that each time we release an episode, there are like 200 actual people in the world who take out time from their day to listen to us talk. Like, at the end of the day, we are just a bunch of teenagers, and like, it probably doesn't mean a lot to the person who watches it in their free time, but like, for us, the fact that we actually do end up getting some amount of views is reaffirmation that the work we're doing is not absolute trash, just more mediocre.
It's not. You know what? It's not even the views. A lot of these podcasts out there will get the views. It's the retention that we have, especially in our audio episodes from earlier, and even in our video episodes, we've had a solid like 25% to like 30% retention rate, which, if you look at the numbers, is pretty small, but that rate itself is comparable to a lot of the good podcasts out there. So, I mean, it's
So
not
what
all
you're
bad
just
is
trying
what
to
we're
say
trying
is
to say.
Joe Rogan-
Please stick around.
Be careful.
Some are getting bored, mate. We're getting there. Never mind.
I'm bored.
Looking back at it, guys, what has been your favorite
I can.
episode till now? We've had 21 episodes that we've released till now. This is going to be the 22nd. If you had to pick a favorite, who would it be? I mean, which one would it be? Why?
I've already got my
What that?
answer locked in.
Let's go with Sam first, because I have a couple of them in mind.
I mean, of course, I don't know if the output was as great as we think it was, but I think recording this was the most fun, and it was
What,
with the
the
great
Sing
Sing
in
in USA. It was we
in
were
USA,
so
man.
like excited about it, and we had spent like a week planning for it, and we had woken up at 7 a.m. just for him, which is the earliest we've ever
Yeah,
woken
because
up.
US time.
Yeah, it's mad.
You
And-
guys have woken up. But
Shut up,
Yeah.
Yajat. We have woken up, and yeah, it was damn fun. What about
in
you?
general, it was pretty crazy to like think that like a actual famous dude or relatively famous dude was like having a normal conversation with us. Like, we were
it's not
homie-
even the famous part. It's the fact that, like, I don't know about Swayam, but me and Samarth back then at least religiously watched his like content about colleges and stuff. So it was like you're watching a YouTuber and suddenly you're having a conversation with them, and you're almost on the same like level in the conversation. It's not like we were like speaking up to him. He was like
Yeah,
conversing
he was
with us,
treating us like a
normally.
homie only.
Exactly. Which was
So,
like it was insane.
Major shout out to I heard Noor Singh in USA. He's now
And
become an
Shaurya
absolute
for getting
mad
us in touch with him.
Speaking
Which,
of
He's
you
also
will be
become an
seeing more.
absolute mad lad.
And speaking of Shaurya, look out for our upcoming episode with Shaurya, going to be released very soon, shortly after this one. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Swayam.
Okay.
Yajat, what about you?
See, I think there's a couple of factors.
Walk us through them.
One of them, so I think in terms of like a podcast which like had a genuine effect, we have to talk about the Breaking the Silence podcast we had with Noyana, which I mean, I don't want to bring that stuff back, but if you guys aren't aware, the viewers out there, we did a podcast with our friend Noyana at time of this thing called the Boys Locker Room incident, and the entire thing, credit to Sam and Swayam, because it was very spur of the moment. The idea came up in one day and we just recorded it, and Samarth edited. And honestly, the messages we got after that were quite heartwarming as well. So I think in terms of just that podcast is definitely up there. But other than that, I think this is going to be an odd choice. But apart from the Vedu Lamba episode, which is, by the way, if you haven't checked, the best moments from that are on the new reels of part of the YouthCast Instagram account, which is in the description. But because he laid some serious knowledge. But this is going to be an odd choice. But I really like the conspiracy theories episode, which is our second episode. But it was a strange episode.
The behind the scenes of that episode is kind of mad, not gonna lie. I don't think I still have the file, but Swayam
I have it.
Might want to comment.
No comment there whatsoever. But yeah, in general, I think like our episode with Noyana was like, I've always wanted to create an impact, or at least some positive impact on like at least like my group of friends or something of the sort. And I feel like that was probably the first, and I wouldn't say only, but it was the first time we actually were able to do that through our podcast. Like, so that felt good. Obviously, like Yajat said, like the responses we got after that also felt good. At that point in time, we were presented, like we did obviously like consider the fact that this kind of content, I wouldn't even call it content, but like that kind of passing, like talking about social messaging does get you views, but we didn't necessarily want to make our channel about that. Like, it's important that we recognize issues exist, but that doesn't mean we use them for clickbait or just to get views, which is why we've avoided talking about some of the more controversial issues that have come up recently. But yeah, I genuinely really thought that episode was good, even more than just in the messaging, like the sheer brilliantness and suddenness of the move, like the way Sam edited within 2 hours, and how like the entire episode was conceptualized, released, and like promoted all within 4 hours, which is insane. And not even, it was probably one of our best audio work in general.
Our editor's really cool. I mean, the episodes he's edited over the past year have really been something to look out for.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't even get me started on the reels. Oh my god, that beauty.
I think conspiracy theory ones was kind of random in the sense that like it didn't really fit with what we've been doing or what we planned to do. But it was a fun episode to like.
Honestly, it was just a late night conversation recorded. To be very honest,
I'm gonna be honest.
It had nothing to do with anything.
The first few episodes that we ever did were literally just us trying to talk for 30 minutes and fill in just random parts of a conversation, and it was just weird. But now I feel like it's way more. I feel like now, even though we don't like plan it properly, it's way more structured because we've gotten used to this style of conversation.
But in general,
I think we'll talk about like what all stuff we've learned. 1 second, Swayam. But I think one more podcast I'd like to mention, and I think this might be one of those, like the ones we've done with our friends, which is like the students episode we did, and the one we did with Parth Advait Zoravar. I think those two ones were up there with like the most fun to film, and how well they translated in the video. Again, with what do students think? I don't know how well it translated to people who didn't know us, so to speak. But at least among our school audience, I think that translated out very well. Yeah.
Also, I don't think you can credit Zoravar for that episode. Not gonna lie.
Oh man. If you
to
watch that
understand
episode,
what
Zara, basically
the
didn't
video
have
out.
internet. What?
But yeah, now we've talked about our highlights. What are our lowlights? Like, what have been your least favorite episodes? And
That's a
in
very bad segue.
Where do we
try
start?
try to avoid the first 5 episodes because in general we weren't at our best in the first 5. After that, in the 15 that followed, what has been your least favorite to record or whatever?
Okay.
List out.
Let's think.
I think with the first one, and I know you don't tell us to mention the first 5, but with the first one, I think we really battled with the concept of how formal and informal it should be. Because I remember we started out in Swayam especially got very socially conscious when we were filming that episode, and we started doing it like a proper show and tell. But I think now it's not you're at.
Now he's sitting in a massage chair. Earlier, he used to be sitting in a 3-story office, sitting like this.
Oh man, Swayam had really bad internet when we started out.
What do you mean had? Oh wait, now it's fine. You had really bad
Now
internet
it's
when we started out.
I've had.
You've had it
genuine
throughout.
problems. Yeah.
For me, I think the worst episode. I mean, not the worst. The worst episode to film, in my opinion, was the one with Ira, where we talked about being vegan. Primarily because I woke up 20 minutes late and was only part of the last 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, I remember that. We were so mad, dude. We were so mad.
I joined the call in the middle, and I'm like, "Yo, what's up?"
Yeah. And I think we addressed it when we started it as well.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, lockdown sleep cycles were fun. Other than that, I think in the middle there was like 6 episodes in a row where we talked about Kanye West. That was sort of repetitive.
Dude, that was such a bad phase.
Yeah.
That was the real dip of YouthCast. Where for some reason we had Kanye West always.
He was always
not even that big into Kanye West.
always in the thumbnail, no matter what we talked about.
For no reason. Oh man.
I think like this isn't a low light. I just suddenly remembered it, and it's weird that I like this episode so much given the fact that I wasn't even a part of it. But I think our episode with Yash Raj where we discussed Indian matchmaking and
that
was really funny. Like it was like
that was also one of those impromptu things.
Yeah, I basically got replaced by like a better version of myself, so like it worked out.
Bro, but shout out to Yash Raj. We literally told
shout out to
him
Yash
an
Raj.
hour
He's
in
doing
advance, and he was like
He's gone
ready
through
to
a major
film the
body
entire
transformation.
thing.
Not that, like, I don't know if we should.
And he's gotten
talk
into
about this, but,
UCLA.
Why are you
Man.
talking
muted,
about
man.
this on our podcast? Are you okay?
Don't worry, I'll
Samarth,
cut
you're
it.
muted, man. Samarth, you're muted, you.
I wasn't muted in OBS, so that's fine. But anyways, yeah. I was saying he also got into UCLA, so
Hey, big up Yash Raj. Shout out Yash Raj on the podcast. Anyways,
Big Chungus clutches
Big
up yet again.
on the podcast. Continue, guys.
But yeah, what
Just
else,
a random
boys?
shout out to Yash Raj.
Yash
I
Raj.
think-
Love Yash Raj.
I think that's pretty much it, but I just want to end on one question is
What the
much
hell?
That's not pretty much
in
it.
the
Wait, what?
That's not pretty much it.
That's not it.
yaar sona hai yaar.
Oh, right.
Okay, wait. I have a question for you. I have a question for you guys.
Okay. Big question coming in from
Yeah. This is a huge question. Some would say this should be a question asked to each presidential candidate all across the world.
Abhi,
Okay.
Karna, just ask the
No.
question.
It's really important that you brace yourself. Okay.
Right.
This podcast has 3 hosts. You're one of them. Name something about the other 2 that you hate while recording the podcast.
Okay, I can do this. I have a lot
Wow,
of
that was quick. That was quick.
For
I was
Samarth,
thinking, wait. This
For
guy's been.
Samarth, it's
Okay,
no. The
continue.
thing is, for Samarth, I feel like he puts in so much effort into the podcast once we record episodes, in the sense that he is amazing at editing and he does all of that. But I would really appreciate it if he decided to shave before podcast.
Stop trying to make this all mentoring and like, oh, this is a safe space. Just say it, dude. Don't say this. I would really appreciate, and I'd like to clear up and
But
nonsense.
Samarth,
Say it.
basically, shave. You're not doing anyone a favor by not shaving.
That's just a personal dig. That has nothing to do with the podcast.
For Yajat, I probably think for a while in the middle there you had this habit where you just used to go on and on and
Went
on
on and on, yeah.
What do you mean
And
had?
like after a point it's like you don't know what you're
Listen.
saying. I don't know what you're saying. The host doesn't know what you're saying. Nothing. No one.
We
knows
are the
what you're
host.
saying.
What do you mean? The host doesn't know what you're saying.
But basically,
I definitely agree, because I think this is something that I've had a problem with.
Bro,
because I
shut your
wouldn't,
phone
like,
up.
My
1 second.
Yeah, I know
my
what I
God,
don't like
popular
about this guy.
popular guy. Anyway.
Yeah, next.
No, I think this is a problem I also agree I had, where it's like I would have a thought, but I would not like think that through before I make a sentence. So it's just I'm really just like going on a big leg here.
So
while
you are
I'm trying to make
mentally
a sentence.
unequipped.
Dude, sus! I can hear that message. Abey, know this. Swayam's doing iMessages. आवाज आ रही है भाई.
यार Android है यार मेरे पास ऐसे मत
क्या
बोल.
बोल बन रहा है? Never mind. But yeah, I mean, I think I've worked on a little bit. I think I'll give myself this much credit.
I agree.
But that
Yeah.
definitely.
Most improved player.
Yes, what do you not
my
like about
prob-
Swayam and I? Look into our eyes as you say this.
I think Samarth, this sort of works out as a dynamic, but I think Samarth had especially in certain topics, he had trouble getting his word in, especially with guests and all. With us, I think it was mostly fine, but with guests, Samarth had less talk time on the podcast, which, I mean, if it sort of works, it works, but that's something I've noticed. What else? Swayam, it's
Was that a COVID cough?
fine. Yeah, I can't tell the difference, dude. With Swayam, it's fine. I mean, he could be more entertaining as a person, but like that's just a
Holy
personality trait.
shit!
But, like,
Oh man, that was so uncalled for. Oh
I
man.
was just thinking, dude. I was thinking, like, what can I say to Swayam? But,
Yeah, so
this might be the last episode of the YouthCast.
I definitely agree with everything Swayam said about Yajat. Like, the man doesn't know how to stop talking, and that is a good thing because it gets our episode to 30 minutes. But that's also a bad thing because people stop listening for the 30 minutes.
Watch time, boys. That's what I'm thinking.
And,
I'm thinking of the watch time.
Then about Swayam, where can I start? I mean, the guy is just a terrible human being in all. Like, first of all, like, look at
He
him.
said some mad things which Samarth has to cut out, to be very
look
honest.
at him. No, you
He
know
said
what?
some crazy things on the podcast.
Why don't you decide how much you like Swayam based on the next clip?
Stop it.
Twitter, go at it.
I can just see Swayam's dreams of like university just scattering. Oh man.
It's Brown ED, is it?
Hashtag brown ED. Hashtag brown ED in the chat.
Yeah, but
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I think Swayam's just an all-around terrible human being.
Thanks, man. Means a lot.
So that's been it from us on that note.
But yeah, just to wrap things up, like I don't get this sentiment.
This thing. He's done it so many times in podcasts. We're in the middle of a conversation.
And he just
but then
wraps
the
it
end
up
of a
because he wants to
sentence.
sleep.
So wrapping things up, guys.
Dude, it's 12 a.m. here. I need to sleep.
The time difference. I don't like the time difference with Swayam.
If it shift to a nearer location, that would be ideal. But
then
what can you do?
he won't serve his country, and that's kind of disappointing.
That also.
No, but
And
yeah,
he wouldn't have got the wasabi clip. So
in general, what I'm saying is like, I'm very grateful to have you both in my life. This is super cringy, but I very frankly don't think I would talk to either of you if it wasn't for the podcast or the fact that like
oh yeah,
I
same.
forced you guys to record.
Maybe
an
Samarth,
I don't have your number.
but
saved.
not you.
So like
Welcome to the roast to Swayam Sidh Tripathy.
I don't even have your number saved, dog.
Oh wait, even I don't. Oh shit, I don't have your Singapore number saved. I had your previous number saved. I'm so
okay,
sorry.
bye guys. It was
I-
lovely talking.
I'm gonna be honest, I was kidding, but Yajat is dead serious.
No, I'm actually dead serious.
I was kidding, I have it saved.
I don't have it saved, mate. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Wait, oh my god, I just doxed his number. What the hell am I doing?
I got my bitches out.
Serious
That's
question.
that shit.
Actually, two questions. One is the question about the past, and the other is about the future. So
Okay.
about the past, what is one thing that you guys have learned while doing this podcast that you could tell to somebody who's thinking about starting something like this for them, like putting themselves out there, that you have learned? Go on.
I'm gonna quote the great Vedant Lamba. You have to be okay with putting out shit content. Because look at where we started, okay? We started
Oh,
out as diarrhea and we've moved on in life. Now we're like, what? Now we're good. We're the cream of the crop, some would say. Some would say we're better than Impulsive, better than Joe Rogan.
Don't say cream.
The creme de la creme, some would
Okay.
say. And why should I not say cream, by the way? What is wrong with the word cream?
No, it's because you said diarrhea pehle. So I thought that's the theme that
Ew,
you're
I'm
going for, but
eating,
never mind.
Yajat. Ew.
You eating while the podcast is going on? Don't try to turn this on me. One thing I would definitely say is, even if when we don't continue this podcast a year from now, I'm sure none of us would have that sort of. Give me that look. We were talking about this before we started recording. None of us are continuing this podcast a year from now. But even if we don't, I think none of us will have that like hesitation when we're putting themselves out there in a future YouTube channel or like any online platform for that matter. Okay, I will.
I definitely.
I probably won't. I think like in general though, like what YouthCast has taught me is that like don't be afraid to reach out to people. You'd be surprised at how willing they are to like do things if you just ask nicely. Like the fact that we got the USA
that's much more profound.
The fact that we got like Vedu Lamba on, the fact that we're getting Shaurya on again, like it just goes to show that if you're nice about
in the span of 1 hour just decided to come on.
Exactly. I think the idea is just like if you're nice to people or if you're a decent human being and you want something, it tends to work out for you.
That's why we don't get Swayam to ask people. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Swayam, rapid fire question, okay. How many people have ignored your message to come on the podcast?
Only Tanisha.
Tanisha, if you're listening, look how heartbroken he is. He's literally willing to go into war for 2 years for you.
Oh man.
We could actually clip this up and just make a reel of like Swayam crying. Oh man.
Bro, you know that dude who makes remixes
you know what, Tanisha, if you actually somehow, if this ended up there, we would love to have you on. It'd be an incredible podcast for us, for our listeners. Come on the YouthCast channel. Yeah, okay. Second question. Fuck, I forgot. If you could get any guest on, and I think we know the answer for Swayam, but if you could get any guest on, I can't breathe.
It's COVID.
Can't breathe, man.
It's not something to laugh about. Actually stay inside. We have like almost 20k cases a day.
No, I'm isolating for 2 weeks. It's
legit, yeah. My ACD got cancelled. Like, it's actually mad. I'm actually damn pissed about it, but it's for the safety of everyone, so it's fine. Even though exams could have been conducted.
Imagine giving the ACT, bro. That's
Swayam, how's your first attempt?
Okay.
If you could have an all-out pass to get any guest on the YouthCast podcast, which one would you get on? Just one. Or, okay, max 2. We can have a couple.
2. You didn't answer my question. 2.
I think.
Yeah, like if you want to get like a duo or some shit.
I think we've avoided like Indian politics till now, but it could be pretty cool to get like an actual Indian politician and grill him as like imagine if we got on here and like if we were able to have an actual conversation without the fear of being. I'm in a different country and I'm still.
How can you say without fear and same sentence?
Yeah, my answer to that would be one is Tanisha. Tanisha, if you're watching this, I just really want you to be on the podcast. But second is if we could get like a young Indian politician, like not many of them exist, which are educated.
My local MLA is great. He has his own independent party. Great guy.
But yeah, like if we could get someone like that on
like seriously. No, like he has like full support.
I'm kidding, I'm dying. Holy shit. Yeah, it's getting bad out there, boys. Stay indoors.
This episode has a lot of good, like, out of context clip.
Yeah, so Yajat, what about you?
So yeah, Swayam, you were saying?
Yeah, that was it.
Me, I don't know, dude. I don't wanna have serious guess because he said all politician already.
Yeah.
So I'm going for like, I'm trying to see who would fit the vibe. Like, obviously, like, you know what? I think I might just go for a classic Tanmay Bhatt.
Oh, that'd be.
But like, I don't know
That'd be
what
mad.
we would talk about. I feel like we would just talk about
What
like
would we
Indian
not
meme culture.
talk about?
Like just Indian meme culture. No, but like I don't want to talk about his journey and all. Like everybody knows all that shit. Like he's been on like actual like big podcasts where he's spoken about that. So
My bad.
I want to talk about like Indian meme culture, like his involvement in it, that sort of like vibe. I think
That's a
that,
funny guy.
He's a solid guy, yeah.
is it? Yeah, you saw like he seems like a great guy. I don't know him. But
I know
like,
him.
He seems like
He's a
a
solid
great
guy.
guy. Acha.
Tanmay bhai, call marna. Yeah. For me, I don't know, man. There's so many people in the world. How do you just decide on like one or two? I mean, Swayam said a
I'm not
politician. You said, I forgot what he said already. Not gonna lie. Who did he say?
Tanmay Bhatt.
Oh yeah, Tanmay Bhatt. So I don't know why we're just reserving ourselves to this Indian community. There are so many people in this world. Let's get Donald Trump on, fam.
No, but I feel like the vibe will only said. No,
Bro,
I mean,
bro,
that would be. Oh
Bro,
shit,
no.
that would be
You,
so bad.
you only tell
Oh
me,
my god.
after everything that's been said on this podcast, you don't think it's entertaining to bring on Mr. Donald Trump?
To be fair, like 5 of our
I would
episodes-
take Donald Trump. You know what? That's a good one. That's a good
Yeah.
one. I like that because it's like
Now, for
imagine
the
questions
left
you
on
could
Twitter,
ask, bro.
we're not
Any
trying to
US
give him a
president,
platform or anything like that. We're just interesting guy to talk to. Character.
Bro, we have 90 subscribers. That dude would have more clout in your account. But
What the hell
yeah,
happened
no,
to
like,
him, by the way?
like
Where
all of
is he
the
gone?
confidential stuff. What?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Carry on. He's just living in Florida now, like a Florida man.
No, but like honestly, Donald Trump being the Florida man would be a perfect end to this entire story. It's just the ultimate Florida man story. Florida man country. No, but like, imagine the stuff you could ask him though. Just like Area 51, he's like, yeah, bro, aliens are out there, bro. It's crazy. All popping off.
तो भाई सच में Stormy Daniels का सीन हुआ था या नहीं हुआ था बताना.
Stormy Daniels fun. Stormy Dan. Oh, damn. That's who Stormy Daniels is. Okay, I just Googled it. Never mind. I think that pretty much wraps it up. Stormy Daniels.
Thank you guys so much for
Donald
watching.
Trump.
If you like this episode, subscribe. Thank you for this incredible year of support and battering in the comments sometimes. We see you guys too. You hate watchers. Thank you for the views. And yeah, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Hit the
Before
bell.
we leave, shout out to the loyal fans. Our
Shaurya
most loyal
Agarwal.
fan, Shaurya Agarwal has been. Shaurya Agarwal, this is your moment. This timestamp right here. He's been a loyal supporter. He's given us criticism when he's needed it, and he's shouted us. He watches all the episodes. Big fan. This is your moment, man. Cheers. Cool. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.